Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another week in the strange world that is the COVID world that we live in. So, over the weekend, obviously, Victoria's restrictions have gone backwards or become a lot more stricter, and I think that just gives us a good opportunity to reflect and not be as potentially as complacent as a community, as a group, as what we have been. Certainly in our family, we look back over the last couple of weeks at scenarios we'd been in, and we're particularly within our family environment, friends environment, and realised that there were a number of times where we were complacent. And so we're kind of back on track and back focused. So which is good from our family perspective. One of the things that we've been talking about, or that I was really keen to explore over the next coming weeks, is if we're not going to be holding winter competitions, and we're now seeing clubs almost daily now just confirm that they're not going to participate in the winter competition for 2020, that then creates the very real reality that they don't have people, say, from September last year all the way through to maybe next year, 2021. So 12, 18 months before, in between times of where people have been into the club. And so my challenge to myself and to you is, well, what are ways that we can use to stay involved? So, and keep people involved in the club, even though we may not necessarily be playing sport, because I think that's a really crucial, important thing. So I'd love for those that are online now, to say hello, join the conversation, give us your ideas, give us your thoughts. Love that every single day if you can be part of this, become an interactive live stream, just not me just lecturing to people. One of the things that I saw over the weekend that I thought was absolutely brilliant was a sports club had decided to run a working bee over the weekend. And when I thought about a working bee, I thought, well, that is fundamentally brilliant on a whole range of scenarios. I'm not going to name the club because we're going to talk about the COVID scenario in a minute, but I thought about it. It was brilliant. A working bee is brilliant because what it does is it gives people a reason to come together, right? Now we're going to put this in the context of come together in a COVID-safe way, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But it brings people a reason to come together. They socialize, they connect. But I think even more importantly than that, when we're talking about building that sense of belonging and that connection with the club, is what it does is give them a real sense of purpose, gives them a goal, gives them something to work on, gives them something to be proud of, and gives them something to come back to. How cool will it be when the club is much better when people come back to it than when they left it? Right, so that's the real opportunity. And I love this cricket club. I love the concept. I love everything about what that does. So for me, working bees, I think, are going to become a really important strategy in keeping our club community together and keeping that sense of connection together through this period where we may not be coming back to the club to participate in the sporting activity. But I do think there's lots of different sporting activities. Deb, welcome to you. Good morning to you. You're always online, and I really, really appreciate that. One of the things we've got to be very, very conscious of, though, is the very real reality that COVID is here, and it's going to be here for a while. So everything that we do in our lives must be COVID safe. So distancing, health etiquettes, coughing etiquettes, hygiene etiquettes, lots of hand washing, et cetera, et cetera. These are really, really important things, and a working bee is no different. So I just very careful. The point of today is to dwell on the positives and the awesome idea that a working bee is, but just to caution ourselves that to make sure that we're doing the working bees in in a COVID safe way. So making sure we're socially distanced. And that's really just, when we think about it, it's not difficult. It's just a new thing we need to be conscious of. It's a new behavior we need to be conscious of. So in this photo, you can see we've got 4 people working on a relatively enclosed space, but give or take, they are 2 meters apart. We're assuming that here is, well, is father and son. So all good. But we just got to be careful that through the whole time, we continue to be that social distancing through the whole lot, even though it's a social environment. And the reality, this is why the Victorian Premier has said reduced family gatherings back to small amounts, small numbers, number 5, because it seems to be that our family and social environments are where we're the most undisciplined and a bit lax in the way that we're being COVID safe. And so social environments, and so just draw attention to these couple of photos. You know, look at the faces of the group. They've had a working bee. They're really proud of what they've done. And so they have a group photo to do it. But the problem is no social distancing. And the reality is, if one of the people is COVID, then the reality is then there's a high chance that this club becomes a COVID cluster. And that's just not what we want to do. So the point is here, be vigilant, be disciplined. If we're going to have club activities, be really focused on those hygiene, distancing, make sure that people are healthy, and really, really focused on that. So Susanna, welcome to you. Suggestion is frequent workshops to asking assistance from members to help strengthen the club for the new season. Involve the members can be online. Uniform design, brilliant. Social media team, volunteer team management, etc. So I mean, I love the concept of uniform design as another way of engaging people, because we often have marquee games or rivalry games or heritage games or something, those types of themed rounds that will come in the future, they will definitely come back, that allow us to redesign the uniform. So, okay, getting a little working group working on that logo, modernizing the logos, all opportunities for things that we can be working together. And please, there's nothing wrong with a working bee. I love the working bee concept. I'm going to explore it more. I think the reality of making our club, making our environment better physically than what it was when we left last time is a great concept. And my point is not to be critical. My point is that every day we need to be learning, sharing those learnings and adopting those learnings. So love the idea. Let me go back to a photo that's really cool. And so that's my thought for today. We'll continue to explore ways to keep people engaged with our clubs, even though we're not offering our traditional competitive sporting options. During this week, we've got some really interesting discussions. Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at online meetings and how we can make sure we handle the legislative requirements of online meetings, and how potentially practically that we can be managing voting, etc., using online meetings. So if you've had an online meeting, if you've had an AGM, I'd love for you to join that conversation tomorrow. And share your knowledge and share your experiences. And we will bring on clubs in the future that have already done AGMs online and see how they tackled the voting. What were the challenges they had? What worked well? What do we need to work out how to do more easily or better? Wednesday, I'm really, really looking forward to Wednesday, because Wednesday I've got Craig Armstead, the ex-CEO of the Essendon District Football League, and myself, who in another world was the ex-CEO of the Mornington Peninsula Nepean Football League. We're going to have a discussion about the pros and cons of salary caps and player payments. people that are long-term listeners to this live stream will know that I'm not a big fan of paying player payments in community sport. So rather than be all guns blazing on that position, what I'd like to do over the next couple of weeks is really explore that. And Craig was part of discussions last year where a league actually voted not to decrease the salary cap. So I'd like to understand what was the position of the clubs and why did that, and what were the things that we need to take into account to have an informed discussion. Friday, obviously, Esport Friday. Not sure what we're going to do for Esport Friday, so love your thoughts, love your ideas. Deb says, we are so lucky here in South Australia that we don't have to be as stringent as you guys. The reality is, Deb, you do. You have to be just as stringent, just as disciplined as what we do. It's just not enforced on you. So you do have to be socially distant. You do have to do the hygiene side of it. You can just have more people doing that. We are looking at Club Development Day where everyone is welcome. Brilliant. And we can make a start at the frequently asked questions for future members and affiliates. And so much interest is being shown in attending. We're getting buy-in. So we're getting the buy-in that we wanted. And that's because you've got that strong sense of belonging between your members and your club, or your participants, or your community in your club. And they want to be part of the activities. Need to challenge ourselves to think outside the box, get-togethers, walkathons, picnic in the park, etc., bike rides, making sure the local trial raids. Yeah, exactly, Susanna. There's no need for us to be thinking of our activities purely in the sport that brings us together. I think that's a really, really good thing, because it's not just the sport that brings us together. We're like-minded people, socializing, we like each other's company, etc. So create ways that are potentially safer than and outdoors, we know as a statement of fact, outdoors is a lot safer than indoor activities. We can have much more social distancing, etc., but inherently it's safer without the air being in a confined space. So all of these things are great ideas, and we'll explore them as we go through the year over the coming weeks to help it make it easier for your clubs to stay safe, and most of all, not become a COVID cluster, which is a very big theme of what we've talked about continuously for the last 12 weeks. So thanks for joining us, Deb, Susanna. There's others that are online as well. Please say hello. Please let us know who you are so that we can you can be part of the conversation, because these live streams, they are not supposed to be lectures. They are supposed to be discussions where we can all learn off each other. And the ideas, Deb, that you and Susanna have put in today, I've learned from you, and for that I am very, very grateful. So until tomorrow, I'm Steve Pallas. Thank you for being part of our sports community.